has very good potential of branding our country out there, because I see like the tourism sector, we have very good sceneries. Like you said, they usually brand our country as a Pearl of Africa, and I feel it has good potential in boosting our economy and also providing more jobs to the citizens and to the youth mainly. And the other one to be like to formalization of the informal sector, to bring it both on the tax to bring it on board on to the formal sector, to formalize it so that we can be able to tax more, so that we will try to raise more to raise more revenue within so as to see that all our aspects, all our goals are at least are reached. And then the other one will be to cut on the wasteful expenditure. We see that we usually pass the supplementary budget. They go to Day, they go to Rocco, but there's a hospital there that doesn't have an ambulance. Yes, we should also look at that. And the other one would be to prioritize spending with high social and economic returns. So that's the citizens have to feel the pinch of the budget. Let it be a citizen's budget, a Ugandan citizens' budget, not a government-driven budget. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And then I'll also go to Mr. Julius Mukunda, your parting shot.
Oh, quickly is first. I mean, I'm excited. I'm seeing they are going to read the budget.
Yeah.
So, like all Ugandans, please just get prepared. The budget is going to be ready probably in an hour's time. We know we have problems, but the Baganda say akatono okaya nangari mukwali mukwawa. There are those things in the budget that are going to transform us. Let's get prepared and ready to take them take them on. I think that's very, very important. Let us not relax. It is our duty as citizens to engage into this budget process and to benefit from it. Ensure that the money that is for the school, for health centers, it works because you are there as a citizen. And we look forward to continuous engagement. We thank government, by the way, for giving us these spaces. You know, Uganda is among the second on Africa and first in East Africa on open budget and transparency systems. So that's why you see us having got this information. And I think it's because government has been able to do that. So see you in Kororo.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Blaise Okwera, I would like to hear your parting shot.
Okay, so I want to just liken the preparation of tax laws to plucking off the feathers from a duck, a live duck. So the principle is, as you pluck the feathers, you should do it while minimizing the hissing of the duck. Why am I saying this? If you look at this year's tax laws, they provide a pro-citizen approach with very limited hissing. I will emphasize three. The first one is government's response to the IFRIS riots, let me say, wherein the tax from 6 million has been reduced now to double. I mean, if you sold a kilo of sugar and they were taxing 8 million for not issuing an IFRIS, indeed it was a bit too much. So government has responded in a pro-citizen manner by reducing the penalty to just double the tax due on that item. The second and very interesting opportunity for a taxpayer to look out for in this amendment are the waivers. These have been coming in very consistently, of course, attributed to the COVID-19, now even more relevant because of the USAID exit, Donald Trump's decisions. We see the introduction of a waiver for any tax due by June 2024, as long as the payment has been made by around 2026. So this is a very welcome initiative. It allows everyone across the board to go and clean their tax book and be ready to comply going forward. But the third, and I think this has been the buzz of the town, is the introduction of the 3-year tax holiday for citizen-owned businesses. And we must give the credit where it's due. However, I also want to highlight that the key support in this exemption is simply to remove the burden of compliance from the businesses that are starting. It's not necessarily that the new ones that are coming. Because after July, that is when it comes in. And this speaks to government's commitment to the youth, but also to supporting human capital development and access to starting up these businesses. So we have this 3-year tax holiday that reduces the cost of your tax compliance. However, the catch now is there is still a return And taxpayers, as they welcome this exemption, must know that you are required to file a business information return, which falls into the administration agenda of government. It's a very efficient data collection process.
Yeah.
You give me one, I give you one.
Yeah.
So in exchange for the exemption, government will get data that will then facilitate collection in the long run. So from my perspective as a tax person, I think in light of NDP 4 and Vision 2040, the tax provisions this year are very supportive of that objective.
Yeah.
They align with the pro-citizen approach. And I think if Ugandans are waiting for next year to become compliant, now is the time to align with the program and support the vision going forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We really do appreciate you. On the new eve of the National Development Plan 4 that we are entering into, what cautions should we ensure? I know that we've mentioned politics versus economics. We've mentioned tax base widening. We've mentioned responsible project management and implementation. But I want us to give our citizens parting shots on what we ought to put into consideration as we dive into the next financial year and development plan. I'll start with you, Ms. Penina.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, and my parting shots would be that
I want to just liken the preparation of tax laws to plucking off the feathers from a duck, a live duck. So the principle is, as you pluck the feathers, you should do it while minimizing the hissing of the duck. Why am I saying this? If you look at this year's tax laws, they provide a pro-citizen approach with very limited hissing. I will emphasize 3. The first one is government's response to the IFRIS riots, let me say, wherein the tax from 6 million has been reduced now to double. I mean, if you sold a kilo of sugar and they were taxing 8 million for not issuing an IFRIS, indeed it was a bit too much. So government has responded in a pro-citizen manner by reducing the penalty to just double the tax due on that item. The second and very interesting opportunity for a taxpayer to look out for in this amendment are the waivers. These have been coming in very consistently, of course, attributed to the COVID-19, now even more relevant because of the USAID exit, Donald Trump's decisions. We see the introduction of a waiver for any tax due by June 2024, as long as the payment has been made by around 2026. So this is a very welcome initiative. It allows everyone across the board to go and clean their tax book and be ready to comply going forward. But the third, and I think this has been the buzz of the town, is the introduction of the 3-year tax holiday for citizen-owned businesses. I want to just liken the preparation of tax laws to plucking off the feathers from a duck, a live duck. So the principle is, as you pluck the feathers, you should do it while minimizing the hissing of the duck. Why am I saying this? If you look at this year's tax laws, they provide a pro-citizen approach with very limited hissing. I will emphasize 3. The first one is government's response to the IFRIS riots, let me say, wherein the tax from 6 million has been reduced now to double. I mean, if you sold a kilo of sugar and they were taxing 8 million for not issuing an IFRIS, indeed it was a bit too much. So government has responded in a pro-citizen manner by reducing the penalty to just double the tax due on that item. The second and very interesting opportunity for a taxpayer to look out for in this amendment are the waivers.
Minister without portfolio kangambe aliki aveyo naye sirowooza nti tamanya nga nti tebafuna omwezi mulamba kati omwezi mulamba nga tona nakyo bagambye olowooza amaanyi gye gali okutwala abantu ababo ku ssomero nga gwabonabona ngutolina na sente zimala hino omwezi ne bagulyawo kubanga oba tezajja zabulirawo waliwo abaziryawo
kanyanzajja honorable atujja kuddira kaseera nga katuuse okwongera oyo mbaka omu ku babaka abataano ab'abakozi mu paalamenti y'eggwanga Margaret Wabushaija naye ng'atubuulira ate perspective ye ku mbalire eno yewa abakozi nga bamudde ensonga zayogedde era ayogedde ku nsonga ez'abasomesa disparity eriwo mu misaala wakati w'abasomesa aba arts n'abasomesa aba science ate ng'era aba arts akadde kano bavuddeyo ne bateeka wansi ebikola baagala bagenda teeka wansi ebikola naye nga aba science ate bo bakyagenda mu maaso kuba kale kadde mu studio tujja kudya gye bujjako awo ate katono nnyo mukadde kano deputy speaker amaze okubeera nga atuuka tujja kudda twongere okutuusaako ensonga zinange zigenda okuba nga zitambula wano kisaawe Kololo.
These have been coming in very consistently, of course, attributed to the COVID-19, now even more relevant because of the USAID exit, Donald Trump's decisions. We see the introduction of a waiver for any tax due by June 2024, as long as the payment has been made by around 2026. So this is a very welcome initiative. It allows everyone across the board to go and clean their tax book and be ready to comply going forward. But the third, and I think this has been the buzz of the town, is the introduction of the 3-year tax holiday for citizen-owned business. I want to just liken the preparation of tax laws to plucking off the feathers from a duck, a live duck. So the principle is, as you pluck the feathers, you should do it while minimizing the hissing of the duck. Why am I saying this? If you look at this year's tax laws, they provide a pro-citizen approach with very limited hissing. I will emphasize 3. The first one is government's response to the IFRIS riots, let me say, wherein the tax from age 6.
$0.3 trillion shillings budget that will be read today. The president will be arriving shortly to be able to read the budget there, but also the Minister of Finance who will be walking through these entrances with the briefcase there. And I'll be giving you a few of the numbers that are within the budget. The budget estimate is 72.3 trillion shillings. For Uganda Revenue Authority, they have to collect 37 trillion shillings, which has come up from the 32 trillion shillings that is the financial year that we're ending. Come 1st July, this budget will be taking effect, especially in the MDAs, the ministries, departments and agencies, and we will see it taking center stage. This will be the first budget for the National Development Plan 4 that is hinged on 4 areas there. That is agro-industrialization, minerals there, tourism there, but also we'll be talking about science and technology. This budget is one that is anchored on those, and the President was reading some things here. I've been joined by Honorable David Bahati. It's always good having you. Good afternoon, sir. How are you? Are you excited about the budget reading today?
Yeah, we are very excited about this budget because it anchors really on industrialization of the country.
We had
As you
the
know,
arrival
the
of
industrialization,
the
the industrial
invited by
sector
the
has
Right
grown.
Honourable
Now it is
Speaker of
almost
Parliament to
contributing
this
35%
key
to
event of the budget
our
speech,
revenue and contributing
as well as the
close to
arrival of the
18%
service
to
chiefs,
our-
as I've
to our
already
GDP.
mentioned.
So it's a great sector.
We've
And
also
the
had
fact
the
that
arrival
government,
of
as
diplomatic
cabinet, we took a
heads of
decision that
missions,
this should be
judges and
supported.
justices,
and the
ministers.
budget is anchored on
We also
industrialization.
expect the
It's a
arrival
very
of other
exciting time.
heads
So
within
because
the
we need jobs,
Parliament,
and jobs are going to be created
within
through
the Parliament of
manufacturing, through
Uganda.
factories. We need revenue.
And,
revenue is going to be created.
honourable members of Parliament,
So the more we
distinguished
support
ladies,
factories, the more factories we
guests,
build,
ladies
the
and
more
gentlemen,
jobs we create.
Honorable, this budget is hinged on your docket, industrialization there, especially when you look at agro-industrialization, even industrialization itself. How are you going to implement it, and how are jobs going to turn around in the shortest time possible?
Economic development.
Yeah. On the context of the tenfold growth, we are having issues of industrialization.
The briefcase that is well renowned.
We are also
that
building
we all know of, that
more
has
industrial parks.
the
We are
key
supporting
estimates
and creating
for
environment
expenditure
for other
for the
manufacturers
financial year
who are not even in the
2025,
industrial parks. So
2026.
we are sure that industrialization will really create
The Honorable Minister for Finance.
My last question to you, Honorable, is the enablers like electricity, like land. How is it going to support industrialization?
After the capture of Umeme, we are now seeing electricity coming down for the manufacturers to 5.7 and 7 cents, and which is good for the manufacturers.
And lastly, the President talked about power, electricity, that in about 5 years would have used up all that we have, and he's talking about increment there. How is industrialization preparing for that change in power?
The President said more dams are going to be built, and as more dams will be built, more power will be produced, and as more power produced, then we shall have a decrease in the cost of power.
Thank you very much, Honorable. It's always a pleasure. So you have heard from Honorable David Bahati, especially in the docket that he holds, the State Minister in charge of industrialization. This is the anchor that this budget is on: agro-industry, tourism, but also we're looking at minerals, and we're also looking at science and technology. And the President said he's looking at the budget to turn into $500 million in 10 years. That's a tenfold strategy. The question is this a reality, especially looking at unemployment with young people, but also the fragmentation of land? These are drivers of production in the economy, but also if government is borrowing domestically, like it's increasing its borrowing from 8 trillion shillings, the financial year that is ending, and increasing it to 11 trillion shillings, what does this mean for the private sector? Doesn't it mean it's crowding it out of borrowing money? How do we make credit or capital cheap so that it's affordable to everyone? Even as you see, the Minister of Finance is walking in with the briefcase there. He's accompanied by Honorable Msasizi. He's also accompanied by Honorable Anite, and they're walking in with the famous briefcase that they're walking in with. Estimates are there, but we'll be giving you some of those numbers that are in there for you to be able to have some of the numbers that are there. But also, as you see the Minister there, budget support is also increasing from 1.39 trillion shillings to 2.08 trillion shillings. That means more money is going into that, but also borrowing is increasing domestically. But also we have the World Bank that has also come on board. The 2-year ban has been lifted, but they have capped it on social services. That means education, health. Those are the areas that they're interested in. The other area that they mentioned that we're interested in was refugees moving forward there. We also look at some of the numbers that are there, especially on the projection of where the budget has been growing in the last 4 years. The budget 4 years ago was 48.1 trillion shillings. It increased to 52.7 trillion shillings. This very financial year that we're drawing to an end is 72.1 trillion shillings, and now it will be growing to 72.3 trillion shillings, meaning we have a 3% increment, meaning more pressure for URA to collect money. If you look at the Uganda Revenue Authority, the President's State of the Nation's address, he said he will be putting more finances into it, especially to fight corruption, to encourage them with technology to be able to get them in that area there. But all that is to enable what is happening. I see the Honorable Wilson Kajrenje, the representative of the people of Nyabushozi. Yes. How are you, sir? It's good to see you, looking as smart as usual.
Thank God.
How are you, sir?
I represent the people of Nyabushozi.
Nyabushozi. I was on a video with them. They were wishing you the best, and they're saying you should come back.
Yes, I'll be grateful if they do.
Your docket as the chairperson of Security and Internal Affairs, you have the biggest share. Why do you have the biggest amount of money?
Because security and defense combined is a sine qua non of any development project or agenda. You can never ever have development that is not anchored on a firm foundation of security and defense.
As I mentioned earlier,
so development, you first
the arrival of the Right Honourable
deal
Speaker
with
of
security,
Parliament,
with
and the Right Honourable Deputy Speaker
then
of
you
Parliament,
any development
as well as
built on a
honorable
shake
members of parliament,
foundation
honorable
certainly
ministers.
cannot be
We
sustained.
also have the
So
Vice
yes,
President
we vote
with us,
to make sure
the Second Deputy Prime
our
Minister,
UPDF
the
is
Third
very well
Deputy
equipped,
Prime Minister,
is very well
and Parliament
facilitated,
is more or less
has both
composed right
the
now.
weapon that they need, has the training that they need, have the skills that they require, are both on land, air, and otherwise. And even the digital part of it, that they are trained as a modern army to protect our boundaries, to protect our integrity, protect our borders, our territorial integrity. Now, once you have secured that, then
Also
you build, then you have projects like ECOP, then you have projects like whatever project we have. That's why defense
of the Republic
and security
of
has
Uganda.
a bigger share.
Honorable, two questions.
Justice.
Economic security, where is that?
Alphonse
But also, two,
Onyedoro.
are we at war? Why is your budget always
We
increasing?
also have
Apparently, the best way
the First Deputy
to keep
National
security is to
Chairman
keep
of the
ready.
National Resistance
You don't
Movement,
relax. And you have
Haj
seen even
Moses
worldwide,
Chigongo,
even countries that are
who is
considered
very
stable,
familiar with
their
parliamentary
defense
proceedings, having
budget
served
keeps
as
moving
Deputy
up.
Speaker
So that one there is no
of
doubt
the National
about.
Resistance Council.
The countries that
approximately
have
10 years.
faltered on that have had
Present with us, we also have
had it rough.
cultural
So
leaders.
there's no doubt about it.
I'm going to
Honorable-
recognize
Once the enemy of the Republic of
We have
Uganda
Royal
understands that you
Lieutenant
are
Colonel
weak in some
retired
areas, then you are
Martin
giving them a way to
Ayombe
enter and disorganize you.
Yomudinga
So
wa
to keep
Wamba,
ready
the King of
is
Wamba
to
Kingdom.
keep strong. And for our
We
mighty
also have present with
UPDF,
us His Royal
very well
Highness
trained,
Constantine Butamanya
very well
Mogezi,
trained,
the King of Burundi
very well
Kingdom,
fed,
and the
very well
Chairman of
equipped.
the Uganda Kings and Cultural Leaders
Once you have
Forum.
secured that, you have
We also have His Royal Highness
stability that is
Paul
anchored
Sunday
on a firm foundation.
Etiomeleng,
Honorable,
Embalos, the
Of
Omorimo
course,
Papaiteso,
that is
the King of
supplemented
Teso
with
Kingdom.
the people that
Present with
the
us is
military
Right
defense
Honorable Ambassador
have to
George
be
Atim,
out of poverty.
the Secretary General
The people
of
have to
Uganda
share
Kings
on
and Cultural
an
Leaders
economy
Forum.
that is developing.
We also have His
And that's
Royal
why
Highness
today's budget
Robert
is on commercial
Obara,
agriculture, is
Omwene
on
Ngogwa
security
Bugwe
and
Kingdom,
defense, is
situated
on
in
modernization
Busia
of our
district.
health sector,
We also
is
have
on
His Royal Highness
human development.
Jude
And of course,
Mike
we still
Mudoma,
have a big chunk
Umukuka
of
III
paying our
of
debt.
Inju Yamasaba
Unfortunately, we are not yet
from Mbale
financially
district.
secure as a country.
And we
Until
have
we
His
have
Highness
our
Engineer
oil,
Dr. Moses
we are still
Michael
borrowing
Odongo
to balance
Onyachi
our budget.
Melango.
Honorable, you talked about debt, but I'll come to debt in a little while.
received
But
the arrival of,
agro-industrialization